and welcome back, folks, to the Cricket Hotspot podcast. I'm your host, Sarthak, along with my co-host, Parth.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Perfect. Great to be back after a 2-month break. This time we took off, I was out of the country. Parth was preparing for his LSATs, but now we're back in full flow, and we're really excited about whatever's coming up. We have a major relaunch of our entire website and our entire podcast structure. So I hope you guys go check it out. Facebook page is done up now, and it's looking great. I'm really excited about it. Parth, how about you?
Yes, same here. We have actually worked hard to bring everything under so that when we start, it's with the big bang, and hopefully we are doing it, and hopefully this break is justified.
Perfect. All right, guys, welcome to the episode number 17. It's a correction from the last one. We actually mentioned that one as 17, but in any case, this is the actual episode number 17 for the Cricket Hotspot podcast. And a very interesting fact relating to the number 17. Saeed Ajmal recently became fastest Pakistani bowler to reach 100 wickets, but he did that in 19 tests, going past Waqar Younis's previous record of 20 tests. But the actual fastest record for the bowler reaching 100 test wickets is held by Sid Barnes, Clary Grimmett, and Charles Taylor. Done it in 17 tests. So that's amazing. 17 tests, 100 wickets, that's probably more than 5-6 wickets a match?
You would need some supportive wickets in those first
that's
7 or 8 test matches.
It's a great strike rate.
Yeah,
it's a perfect strike rate. I mean, India could definitely use a bowler like that right now.
Let's not talk.
All right,
about
folks.
that.
Let's get back into the news. We have a lot of stuff to share with you guys for our 2-month break. Let's begin by actually dissecting what happened to India in Australia. The 4-match test series, second consecutive 4-match test series lost by India without winning a single match.
Yes.
Lost all the 4 games.
2 whitewashes in 2 international
against 2 quality international teams.
Yes.
So 4-0. What do you think went wrong there? Like after the England debacle, you would expect that the team would have learned something. They would have regrouped. They would have figured out what their problems areas were. What do you think happened?
I think India thought that if the bowlers are fit, they will go and win the match. It wasn't to be the case. The Australians were ready, and to India's demise, Ricky Ponting and Clark found form. They found form big, especially in the Sydney Test. Clark scoring 334, I think. Certainly, it was a tough tour for India. The bowlers really struggled. The sad part is the batsmen. The batsmen could not find form. I don't know what's the future of the Indian batting lineup as of yet, but I think Sehwag will stay. The rest, Sachin does not have a long future, but Dravid and Lakshman are counting their days as far as Indian public is concerned.
You bring up a very interesting point, actually. Till date, the problem used to be that the Indian players, the batsmen used to score 500, 600 runs wherever they go. Usually, they used to score better overseas too. But it was the bowlers who were letting the team down, letting the opposition score. Even if they were in a bad situation to begin with, get a few early wickets, let them claw back by building a partnership. The middle order, lower order scoring runs. But it's been the other way around for the last 2 test matches. It's the batsmen who are failing, and they're letting the entire team down.
I don't know. I mean, the word age has been brought up a billion times in the last couple of months, in the last 6 months, I should say. Is it an issue? I cannot say, but all I would say is that Indian team needs some refreshed faces, in the sense that it's heartbreaking to see the legends go the way they have. And I simply cannot say anything, but I think Dravid and Lakshman are just biding their time, and I think the next test is in September or October. So I would say that is probably one of their last test series they would play.
See, age definitely does make a difference. If you see the ongoing ODI series, the level of fielding for the Indian team has gone up exponentially
yes,
compared to the test matches.
Yeah.
But as far as batting is concerned, I don't think age makes a big difference when you're there. In fact, it only helps you because you've that much more experience dealing with those conditions.
Yeah, but the thing is that let's take the facts for example. Rahul Dravid is supposed to be known as the wall, and he got out. He got out bowled. And a man who's known as the wall, he must have had taken out some bricks at the very, very, very wrong places. The ball went through defenses more than a couple of times. I think it was six times.
5 or 6 times, yeah.
6 times, and I think one of those times was on a no ball, which he survived in the first test. So I don't know. Is it faulty technique? I can't say. Is it Siddle? I cannot say, because he bowled very well. And Australian bowlers, let's give them credit. The first two, it was James Pattinson. He was running through the Indian side like anything, and then it was Peter Siddle in the last two. So it was certainly a difficult bowling attack to face.
Isn't it adding more credence to the age-old theory that, whoever is out of form, be it batsman or bowler, make them play against India and they are back to where they were? Take the case of Ricky Ponting. If he had failed in the series, that was probably going to be his last. No two ways about that. No matter how good a player he is, if he had failed in the series, that was probably going to be his last. But he's actually bought himself some more time.
I think he's bought himself quite a bit of time, at least a couple of seasons. I think he will be there for the back-to-back Ashes series now. England and Australia are supposed to play 15 Ashes tests in about a month, in about an year and 18 months, which is quite a lot. So I am hoping to see him perform well. He did bat really well, though, it has to be said.
There's no doubt about his quality. He's a great player, and actually at par, I think one of the only players at par with Sachin right now as far as his record goes.
Yes.
So, again, that lends a lot of credibility to his record to be compared or to be in the same league as Sachin Tendulkar. Some might even say he's better, but we're not there to comment on that. But again, finding form against an Indian bowling attack, which was not bad actually.
It was certainly not bad. The problem with Indian bowling attack, I found that they would take the first 2 or 3 wickets very quickly, and then it would take them a long while to finish off the tail. I think actually Ashwin has been found out on this tour. He got a very good debut, but as far as novelty goes, it has worn off for him in this series. The wickets haven't helped him a lot, and I would say it's just that they weren't able to go for the kill. This has also been a problem. Like I remember a couple of times Ponting and Clark coming with 50 for 3 and stuff like that, and then not taking off, not killing the main, and then famous Sydney Test day 3, he goes on to make 334, which is
the highest score by an Australian captain.
Yes.
So, but again, I think if you go back to our conversations a few episodes back, before Ashwin had made his debut, we were discussing actually what type of a test bowler he would make. And even at that point of time, I wasn't overly sold at the idea of Ashwin being a frontline test bowler. No doubt he's been really good. He is a very good bowler. Indian conditions, he has taken full advantage of that. But I still see him a much, much better limited overs bowler compared to a test match bowler. And that's just my personal thing. I don't know if that is the case, but this is just how I see him. Every time he comes into bowl, he just looks that much more threatening. Exactly like MS Dhoni. Looks that much more threatening in a limited overs game compared to a test match when you actually have to go for the long run.
Let's talk about the captain then. There were talks of removing him from the captaincy. There were serious questions that MS Dhoni does not deserve or is not India's best captain. What's your take?
Absolutely rubbish. He has definitely been one of the better captains, and it's exactly. I mean, if you see any other cricketer or any issues that we faced recently, it's exactly the case. When things are going good, everyone is going to be taking that one characteristics of yours and hyping it up so much. When things go bad, the very characteristic that made you popular before is going to be the reason for your downfall.
What is Dhoni's that characteristic?
A Captain Cool tag, where he is supposed to be cool when under pressure. And if he pulls it off, he's supposed to be cool. But if they lose, he's supposed to be aloof.
Yeah, or he's not aggressive enough.
So, I mean, what has worked for him has actually, you've seen the results. He has won so many matches for for the country. That has worked for him. You can't ask a man to change his style midway through being in front. I mean, if the times go bad, you'd actually have to go back to your natural instincts rather than try to be someone else. It's totally the other way around right now. So
I think if England was the perfect storm, this was something that was supposed to happen if changes were not made after the England tour. Changes were not made, and this was to happen. I'm not really surprised. What I was surprised was that I was expecting this team to do better. I'm not surprised that they didn't.
I partially agree with one of the points Gautam Gambhir made in one of the interviews, if anyone remembers. He said that when we were, as a visiting team, are facing such conditions in Australia and England, where it definitely favors the home team much more than the visiting side, he was of the opinion that Indian pitches should be ranked turners. No question about that from day one.
I'd like to take issue with 2 points on that. The first is that if you're supposed to be the world's best test team, you're supposed to play everywhere the best cricket you possibly can. And let's not forget about losing or winning. You're supposed to give the best fight. I don't think Indian team has done that. So I don't think he can claim that you come to India and we'll show you. That's not how you're supposed to do. That's not a sportsman. And secondly, I like the fact that they should be ranked turners, but I don't know if ICC should encourage that. There should be a certain amount of home advantage. Yes, crowd support and stuff like that, but playing conditions should be similar. And I think here they should also work towards England and Australia to make sure there is similar playing conditions where everybody can play their cricket. And I think just the drunk crowds, fingers being raised by the players is absolutely enough.
That seems to work, though. He went on to score a century the very next match, though.
Yes. So getting back to the point, just the crowds, just the atmosphere should be enough for the home team. The pitch and everything, everywhere around the world, not just India, everywhere, it should be some advantage, but not rank turners or not like swinging deliveries left, right, and center. That's just my view.
We'll come back to this topic of pitch actually in a later segment.
Yes.
But just to give our listeners an overview, this was the case, and we will discuss in a little more details in our later segment in this episode.
Yes.
So coming back to the Australian team, actually, I think two standout performers from them, apart from Michael Clarke and Ricky Ponting, who we've already discussed. Two standout performers from my side would be David Warner and Ben Hilfenhaus.
Yes, especially Hilfenhaus, because I feel Warner is a hit or miss. He has done well, and he will continue to do well. But he's like the Sehwag. You were once one in 5 innings. He'll give you that great 180, and you will keep him in the side without any question. But I would say Hilfenhaus has been a big revelation. When he came back, I was never for him to leave after the Ashes, although he didn't bowl well, but he's certainly a very attractive bowler who swings quite a bit, and I am quite a fan of his. I like he came back, and I think he will provide that stability that Australia needs, because he's sort of a workhorse kind of a bowler. He doesn't mind bowling long spells, and the best part about Hilfenhaus is if there is a wind, he won't mind bowling into the wind and giving bowlers like Peter Siddle and James Pattinson wind on their backs to give them an extra effort.
I agree with you. I think the reason why he was dropped was because of his very ability to swing the ball. That was lacking. I think he had changed his action or something, or he was going through an injury, whatever the phase was. But he lost his swing. It's beautiful to watch his banana swing going from outside the leg, coming onto the middle.
And almost every delivery.
And it's beautiful. I think that was a similar case with what Irfan Pathan had. He was known for his swing. He was never really expressed, but he was known for his swing bowling, and after a point of time, when you start losing the very thing you're known for, what do you have left? So I think it's great from Hilfenhaus's point of view that he came back so strongly. He worked hard in the domestic circuit, got his swing back, replicated the good performance at the international level, and now he's an integral part of the bowling attack back to where he left off. And I think that Pathan could take a good cue from what he's done and get that same thing. I think if people watched the ODI series where Pathan actually played the games, he's actually changed his action a bit. He has his left arm higher up now, and he does seem to get that shape a little better than what he was getting, say, last year or the year before. So it's good if you can tie up Hilfanaus and Pathan's scenario together.
Yes. And I think one thing that Pathan brings is that extra bit of batting that India always needs.
Absolutely, that batting all-rounder who can bowl a bit of medium
Warner,
pace.
according to you?
I was not much in favor of him being a test player, but he's actually proved me wrong. I do see him as a test player now. He's definitely in that Sehwag mode, but players like this could be really destructive. They could change the game in one session and they can give you the victory when there was absolutely no hope. So definitely in favor of such game changers. They are really important to any side. And if one of the games where he gets going, it's, oh my God. I mean, God bless the opposition.
Yeah.
That's all we have to say.
And I think no pace, no spin can actually take them out. It's just their luck can take them out. So, I mean, let's see where Warner's career goes. Now, another test series that has kept me awake is the England-Pakistan series. Did you watch the series, Arthur?
I actually didn't get a chance to watch it completely. I did get to follow bits and pieces as in live, but I did keep up with the scores, and it was a very impressive performance by Pakistan, to say the least.
The fact of the matter is I was watching the England-Pakistan series more than the India-Australia series because the results were becoming slightly more
predictable
in one of the series.
That's right.
Great result for Pakistan cricket. I think great result for world cricket, and I think it shows the fallibility of the world number one status. Being world number one doesn't make you the world champions. It's practically nothing. And I think India showed that in the summer. England have shown that in the winter. I think the most fascinating part of this was the English media. I was laughing at the fact that Ajmal's action was being questioned after he took 7 wickets on the first day. I don't know. I mean, you cannot. That's not how you're supposed to play the game.
That's absolutely right, and I think it holds for any of these. I think even the Australian media is quite notorious for that.
Yes. So is the Indian media. Indian media is probably one of the worst in that. You know?
I still don't think they're as bad as compared to the English and the Australian media. But in any case, that's a talk for a different episode. But amazing performance by Pakistan. I mean, not only from the bowling front, but they made sure that they were consistent enough, or much consistent than we've known them to be, on the batting front also.
Yes, and I think I like the new regime. The coach has done well, and I think Misbah has made sure that the team is stable, and he gets the performance, and that's it. He does not have any characters that Pakistan has been famous for, like Afridi but so he has a team of great. I mean, they're not great yet, but if they continue to perform that like they have, he has some greats in those team in the making. But I think players like Asad Shafiq and players like the young batsman they have,
Azhar Ali,
yeah. They have played very, very well, and I think Pakistan became the first team in 100 years to win a test after scoring 99. I mean, under 100
in the first
innings. That was the third test.
Yeah.
And it is just laughable to see the ability of English players against the spin. I mean, I'm still a fan of Ian Bell, but in the first 2 test matches, he only faced 27 balls in 4 innings. That's not terribly good. Kevin Peterson's troubles continue. Strauss looked out of form, out of sorts. Cook has sort of made up in the 2 tons he's made in the 2 ODIs. So, your take?
Yeah, definitely. I think the batting front suffered a lot. It just went from being hailed as one of the best English side to being one of the other English sides,
Yes.
like we've seen in the 90s and the early 2000s and stuff like that. But it was, I think, more than the batsman's fallibility, the credit should go to the Pakistan bowlers.
Bowlers, yes.
They worked really hard. I mean, they're really cunning.
Yes.
That's the word I use for Ajmal.
The best spin attack in the world, I would say, by far.
Yeah.
By far. I would also go and say the best attack in the world.
They're not only restricting runs, but they're taking wickets, which is most important. You could be stopping runs, but you need to take wickets consistently to make sure that you're winning. So that is one thing that they're doing right. Both Saeed Ajmal and Abdul Rahman.
Abdul Rahman bowled very, very well.
Quality spinners.
Yes.
And they work in tandem. Actually, that left-hand, right-hand combination from the bowling front works perfect. It was reminiscent of how Wasim and Waqar used to be. So
if they were spinners.
If they were spinners, yes. But great performance. I think,
Yes.
and as you mentioned, the young batsman Azhar Ali, he made some significant contributions.
Yes.
Yunus Khan had a couple of good innings in there.
Yeah, he made 100 in the last test.
It's a good mix of youth and experience in the side, and as you said, Misbah has done a good job of keeping the group together.
Yeah.
So there is not one iconic character in the team who everyone has to rally around.
Yeah.
Everyone's given their space, I think, but they are playing as a unit. And
And it shows.
instead of finding greats in the team, I think the team could be great on the whole, and if they continue to perform as they have. So I think, and that's what they will be aiming for, rather than find three greats from the team. If the team on the whole is considered as great.
Ajmal, the performance.
Oh, beautiful! I mean, what can you say about him?
Yeah. He's turning into the world's best spinner.
Yeah, absolutely. I
And
think
he said that 3 months ago.
on a track where he was getting so much purchase, Graham Swan did look ordinary.
Yeah.
It was Monty Palliser who saved England's face a little bit on the spinning front, but Graham Swan was considered the best off spinner in the world, say a few months ago.
But I would say Graham Swan did not help his case because Pakistan has a lot of right-handers. He's a great left-hand bowler. I mean, bowler to the left-handed batsman. So, but still, Ajmal bowled really, really well.
That's partly the case, and I think what helps Ajmal a lot, in spite of being an off spinner and bowling to right-handers, is his dusra, his command over dusra. I think that is by far one of the best deliveries any off spinner has in his repertoire. I think the carom ball comes close. I'm a big fan of the carom ball too, be it Mendes, be it Ashwin, be it whoever. But the dusra totally foxes the batsman, and I've seen so many batsmen being totally bamboozled by the dusra.
There was once Harbhajan, and now
There
it's
was
Ajmal.
once Harbhajan, yes,
Yes.
that's true. I just read a report the other day that he's fit and going to play in the domestic series and trying to prove his fitness. But we'll see we've heard a lot of talk like that before,
Yeah.
so we'll see when he actually performs.
Tisra is definitely not shown up yet.
Yeah, apparently there was some talk around a Tisra being developed by Ajmal, right?
Yes.
Nah.
I think his dusra is great enough for the batsman to be Fox. He doesn't need a Tisra as of yet.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, if you have too many tricks up your sleeve, you might not get. You might be good or average at all of them, but you might not be great at any of them. So it's better to concentrate on what you're good at and just let it be. Alright folks, moving on to our next segment, and as promised, we will be discussing a little more in depth about pitches and their effect on the outcomes of all the matches, be it test, one days, whatever the case be. But if you look at the two series that we've just covered right now, the India-Australia series and the England-Pakistan series, one common theme that emerges from both of them is the advantage that home conditions offer. Now, people might argue that Abu Dhabi or Dubai is not home to Pakistan, but come on, let's accept the fact it's as close to home as it can be.
It's more of a home to Pakistan than
Pakistan.
to England. Yes.
So the home conditions, I mean, if we would say when India played England in England, England totally rolled over India. India goes to Australia, Australia rolls over India. England comes to India, they get rolled over by India. England goes to Pakistan, or say Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Pakistan has the command and they roll over, whitewash England. Somewhere deep down, connecting all these series is the advantage or the grasp over the home conditions?
It certainly is, and I think it is a worrying sign for the batsmen. I would say. I think the batsmen in all these series you mentioned have not performed up to the par to their abilities, and I think it shows that they not only India, every batsman of those series has been lions at home and have not done well enough outside. You would expect an international batsman, say Trott, for example, who was the player of the year, ICC player of the year last year. You would expect him to do extremely well everywhere in the world. It's certainly not the case, and I think the bowlers also know that, and the bowlers have certainly produced more if they are at home and they're more comfortable at home than they're away.
I think there's a lot said and written every time India goes abroad and fails. But I think, and I won't lie, I'm actually one of the detractors when they actually go abroad and fail. They don't perform up to potential. But we fail to see, or we forget to see, the fact that even those teams, when they're coming to India or any sort of subcontinental conditions, they fail miserably too. And it's just that it's not hyped up as much in their own media or by our media, that when Australia comes to India, they lose. Why? What's the reason for calling India the final frontier for the longest time? Steve Waugh just couldn't win in India. That's the command we had, like the Indian bowlers had over our local conditions, be it rank turners, be it whatever kind of pitches you offer them. And England comes to India, they lost a couple of years ago, they lost the ODI series 5-0. They came back right now, they lost the ODI series again. And the test series in between India didn't fare badly. So it's great when you have advantage over home conditions, but again, as you said, it's a worrying factor when everywhere you go, pitches would be made ideally to suit their own conditions. And if you are a world-class player, you are expected to perform wherever you go. There is no way out of that. You are playing at an international level. No one is going to ask you before preparing the pitches. You have to perform wherever you are placed. But again, I would like to see a little more of an even battle between both the sides.
Would you say the pitches need to be neutralized, or would you say the batsmen and the bowlers need to learn how to bowl on the other pitches more?
Well, from the player's point of view, they can only do so much, right? They have to learn to adapt to playing in different conditions.
And they have not adapted. Clearly.
They haven't done that, clearly,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
So, from their personal point of view, within their reach is that much they have to do. They have to practice on. It's great to see England sending a prep team to India before the start of the ODI series or the start of the Test series against Pakistan. They had Owen Morgan, Andrew Strauss, and a couple of other players come to India and actually practice there, which was really good. Good thinking on their part. Unfortunately, they couldn't replicate the performance for performance at the top level, but it was good initiative on the part of the ECB to actually do that. And I think that's what's required more. I think the junior teams or the A teams of all the countries should be going out of the countries and playing in alien conditions much more than they're doing right now.
I think a good example would be the England Lions were in Sri Lanka and they beat Sri Lanka 3-2. Joss Butler, who is in the English ODI team, who has not been selected, has not played yet, but he made 2 great centuries in those. So it's a good initiative. But would you say that there should be an initiative done by the boards to make sure that the wickets are not so alien to the visitors?
I don't know. I mean, you cannot ask the boards to give up their home advantage because that's just not fair. That's how the world's been going on.
One question, you bring up home advantage. How do you define home advantage? What is home advantage?
See, the thing is, when you're at home, it's up to you to tell the curator what type of pitch you want to play on. I think if Australia comes to India, MS Dhoni can go up to the pitch curator and tell him this is exactly the pitch I want, better be ready by tomorrow. It's not up to Ricky Ponting or Michael Clark to go up to the groundsman and tell them this is the kind of wicket they want because no one's going to listen to them. So, being the hosting country, the hosting nation, you do have the advantage and the say over how the pitches are prepared. The board can tell them, whichever way it is. But in the interest of fairness, I would expect. I mean, I have been a big proponent of getting better fast bowler friendly wickets in India. Mohali used to be the case till a few years back, but now I think it has slowed down
It's
too.
the flattest wicket India has.
So
right
it was quite lively a few years ago, but I don't know what has happened.
It produces dull draws.
So I think that was a kind of wicket which Indian bowlers need to practice on a little more, so that every time they go outside, they don't feel like they've been thrown out of place.
My question was that ideally, without seeing what's happening now, but ideally, would you say what classifies as home advantage? Is it how much can you influence the wickets?
Oh, I think it's the pitch, the crowd, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
But do you think that that's fair?
There's crowd. Crowd is obviously fair.
Crowd is fair, but in terms of other things,
I don't see anything wrong in that. I don't see anything wrong in having pitch made to your advantage. And as we discussed before, if you're an international player, you're playing at that level, you are required to be performing everywhere you go. You cannot be in your comfort zone when you're home, and when you go outside, you just put your hands up and say, "Oh, the pitches were not made according to my liking." That's not how it works.
How about the different types of balls that are played in different types of countries? Like India has the SG ball.
I think that is something.
England has a Duke ball.
That is something that should be should be the same all over the world.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, because I do see the difference there. When teams come to India, you're playing with the SG ball. When you're going to
seam and spins more and stuff like that.
When you're going to Australia, you have the kookaburra or the other types. So it's different. I think from the players, from what the interviews I've read, what I've found out is that they swing a lot more. The SG ball can hold its swing a little more than compared to the kookaburras, which lose their shine or whatever the case be after a few overs. So the difference in technique that comes after, it again can be put down to practicing more with those kind of balls or standardizing the use of balls across the world.
But do you recommend standardizing the use of balls?
I would. I don't know the intricacies involved on why they're using different balls, but if it were up to me and if everything held constant, nothing else is affected, yes, balls should be standardized.
Interesting debate, very interesting, because home advantage we have seen has become ever more popular a term in the last 1 year than it was ever before. Certainly a topic that needs some debate, at least in the ICC, to make sure that you use the word rollover too much, and it should not be used as frequently, because cricket should be more even contest everywhere, and I think we need to make sure that home advantage is not so much that you lose 4-0 or 3-0 and stuff like that.
Absolutely, and I think if you look, this might be a little unrelated, but I don't know how many listeners have got a chance to actually look at some suggestions that Akash Chopra, the ex-Indian cricketer, had for the domestic system, the Ranji system in India. The board technical committee headed by Ganguly actually had asked him to send his suggestions as to what he thinks could be done to improve the domestic structure in India. And the first and the foremost point that he brought out was the quality of pitches. And that is something that really needs to be updated. I think we'll post a link to this article on our website so that people who haven't got a chance to read can actually go and refer to it. But it's great. I think that's one thing that I've been harping on for years, that we need to improve the quality of pitches in India. And we cannot always have the slow, low turners. You need to give your bowlers, even at the domestic level, some sort of exposure to those wickets, and you can't expect them to just go to Australia first up and be a world-class bowler. That's not going to happen.
I think almost every Indian has cried over this fact, and I think I haven't seen any improvement. I've seen actually more flattening of wickets in my lifetime than ever before. I think in the 90s there was still some edge to the spinners. Now the edge to the spinners is also not there. It's become flatter and flatter to the batsmen, and spinners are also crying for some turn, crying for some bounce, and forget the fast bowlers. We cannot even produce good spinners in India anymore. So I think bowling is in some trouble in India, and I think pitches play a huge part in making sure that you get a good breed of bowlers coming in. I'm still excited about Umesh Yadav, and I'm still excited about
Varun
Aaron. He was actually injured, so hopefully when he recovers, we still have some pace. But I do hope that there is some change in the wickets.
Absolutely, and yeah, let's hope that the technical committee, which has had some sort of change in head, now it's a sort of Ganguly, so the personnel change brings about a little change in attitude, and they do take some suggestions seriously and work towards achieving a better quality of pitches in India. So.
Yes. Now the moment of the week. This is in 1982. Today, February 17th. Sri Lanka became the 8th Test-playing nation. Certainly an achievement on their part. Rana Tunga, who retired in, I think it was in 2003. He played in that Test, 1982. So he had a long career, and eight Test nation. So proud moment for them.
Absolutely, I think. They would go on to become one of the subcontinental giants, such a small island of a country.
Yes.
To be achieving the Test status, it was an achievement.
Yes, it was against England in Colombo. So, and they played well in that Test. So it wasn't like they were not good enough even then. They played well, and I think they have actually held their fort quite well in Test cricket.
I think every Test nation or every nation who's been ascended to Test level has performed. Over the years, they have performed and become really good sides, one of the best, in fact, except Bangladesh. I think they have a far long way to go. They do have the talent, but somewhere they just keep slipping up, and they go back. They take 3 steps forward and 2 back, so they're actually not moving from where they were. But coming back to Sri Lanka, a proud moment in their history for sure. They have produced a lot of greats. I mean,
yes.
The highest wicket taken in Test matches. Nothing beats that. 2
names, Kumar Sangakkara, Mahela Jayawardene. You cannot go beyond those 2 names in Sri Lankan cricket. We haven't even mentioned Winda De Silva. He was probably one of their best batsmen ever to play, and one of the most understated players, I would say. But he was a great player. Chaminda Was, a good bowler. A great utility player, actually.
Yeah, we could bat down the order too and score some good runs.
And you know, one thing that's great about Sri Lanka cricket is that they bring out the most eccentric players. They bring out the likes of Murli. They bring out the likes of Mendes. They bring out Sanat Jayasuriya, trailblazer in his own right, changed the game. One-day cricket, how it's played today, changed the game single-handedly,
absolutely. I think him and Arjuna Ranatunga were pioneers in their own regards.
Yes.
I mean, if not for them, one-day cricket, I don't know when, if ever, it would have changed. Because Jayasuriya batting at number 6 or number 7 in initial part of his career, Ranatunga has a brainwave one of the days, and he asks him to open the next match, and he performs. I mean, totally changed the way. The 96 World Cup, I still remember, and the Sharjah Cup before that against Pakistan, where he scored, or after that, sorry, where he scored that fastest half century, which was for 16 or 17 balls. Beautiful batting. I mean, Kaluvitrana and Jayasuriya, they formed a deadly opening pair, and I think no matter how dangerous other pairs have been over the years, nothing comes close to the explosive starts that they used to provide.
Yes, they're very good. Very good. Yes.
So yeah, team have achieved a lot over the 20-year period or 30-year period in which they have had the Test status.
And just considering it's been only 30 years, they have produced a lot of great players. You cannot say the same about Bangladesh, Zimbabwe. You cannot, but Sri Lanka has reached at least the top 5 nations after beating the likes of West Indies, who were there before them, and some may say Pakistan, but certainly they have played really, really well.
Absolutely. All right, folks. So that's it from our side. It was great to be back after a 2-month break. I was itching to go, and we're really excited about our relaunch. Please do go check out the website, our Facebook fan page. Do like us there, and it's all been done, redone, all from scratch. we are really proud of what we've been able to achieve in the 2-month break,
Yes.
and really excited to go.
It has been quite we when we started this project, we didn't know what we were getting into. We were quite novice, and I think we got some good help from people, and they have certainly guided us in the way that hopefully we'll get more people will listen to our podcast more, and hopefully stay in touch.
And if I may, I would like to send out a special thank from both of us, Parth and I, a special thank you to Zoravar Walia, who was really instrumental in helping us set up our website, designing our logos and stuff like that. So thank you, Zoravar. I hope you're listening.
Yes.
And
we'll actually make you listen this part.
And please do check out Zoravar is an amazing photographer and brilliant artist.
Yes.
So if you guys get a chance, do look him up on Facebook, and he has some wonderful work.
Yes,
with him.
He certainly has, and I think great work, and we need more talent like him. Yeah.
So thank you, Zoravar, once again. And guys, please do go check out our website, our Facebook fan page. Do like us and send us whatever feedback you have.
Yes.
You like the site, you do not like the site, you like the fan page.
What changes can be made?
Absolutely, we are all here for you. And
again, the email is questions@thecrickethotspot.com.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yes. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.